FiLMiC Pro, Editor's Choice, 3.9 stars. Protake, 4.6 stars. Beastcam, new kid on the block, also 4.6 stars. Who's going to win this round? Beastcam has a few things that are pretty interesting that FiLMiC Pro and Protake don't have. Let's take a dive into Beastcam's interface and functions and then quickly compare Beastcam against the other apps. Hi, my name's Cal and welcome to my channel. You may have already seen my video on Beastcam's unboxing. If not, check it out. We purchased it, opened it, and took a look inside for the first time. However, today we're going to take a close look at what the app actually has to offer, its interface, its functions, and how to use it. So let's get into it. So let's get into the settings here on the left. And we have 6 options here on the left. Starting at the top, the triple dots. And what that is what they call their Digital Slate. This makes it really easy if you want to organize. Let's say you're really filming something, a special project. You might want to organize not only by project, but by scene and by take. So what you can do here is click, let's say we have it off at the moment, click on, and if you just click on new project, you can create a new project and a scene. Now I've already done that. Let's go back here to our Digital Slate and click in this area here. I have a test project, and if I click right here, you can organize by scenes. And what happens once you've recorded something, you'll get a pop-up asking, would you like to prioritize this video? So you can either delete it, prioritize it by clicking yes, or not by clicking no. This could be a really valuable option for serious filmmakers. And what also happens to pop up is a brightness indicator here you can change. Next, we have 3 choices with hardware, and this is pretty interesting. Now this company Beastgrip does offer a lot of options with what they call Beastgear. If you happen to have certain Beastgear, you can use this app with that gear. DOF is your depth of field. What you're able to do is connect certain lenses so that their application here with Beastcam works great with their Beastgear. Now next we have AL133 and AL155. These are also 2 different types of hardware that you can choose from if you own that gear. Next with stabilization, you have 3 choices. You have off, you have standard, and you have cinematic. Of course, the cinematic will have a greater degree of stabilization, and then your standard will have something in the middle. And then here at the bottom, we have our guides. This particular guide will give you a level. Let's see right here, you can see it in the middle of the screen. And if we tilt, I'm tilting now, that level will tilt as well to make sure that you have as flat a shot as possible. You can also turn on your grid lines, and this is something that everyone really should do for framing and composition. And then here, this next option is you can change your aspect ratio. For example, you can have a 1:1 ratio for whatever reasons. Let's say perhaps it's maybe something on Instagram. You can have a different ratio with these cinematic bars here at the top. It gives you more of a cinematic feel. So next on the list here is your front-facing and back-facing cameras and the particular lenses that are on your camera that are available. So right here is your back-facing. Then I have 4 particular cameras that I can choose from: my wide lens, my telescopic lens, my ultra wide, and my zoom. And then you have your front facing, which is your selfie. Next below is what a lot of people are more interested in. So here at the top, we can film in regular HD, which is 1280 by 720, or what a lot of us film in is full HD, which is 1920 by 1080. If you're posting, let's say, to YouTube, like I've obviously done here. You do have the option for quad HD, which is a bit larger, 2560 by 1440. And then 4K, which I usually film in, that resolution is 3840 by 2160. So let's keep it in 4K for now. Now, as far as frame rate goes, we have our standard here: 24, 25, 30, 48, 50, 60. And if you're filming in 4K, or quad HD. You don't have the options for 120 and 240, which would give you that nice smooth slow motion if you want it. What you want to do to access that is just go down to either full HD or regular HD. So let's go back to 4K. Now, down below we have quality. The differences in bit rate here is if you click on low, what you're going to get is a target bit rate of 30 megabits per second. If you go to standard, what you're going to get is 70 megabits per second. Then we'll jump up to high, which will give you 100 megabits per second. And then your beast mode is 160 megabits per second. I'll keep it on beast. Next, we have your torch. This, I believe, is made in the UK. You can turn it on and adjust the degree of lighting here. Then what is pretty interesting is we have microphone inputs. Here at the top, if you don't want to use your microphone, you can click mute. What's interesting here is you have different input options. This might be different for you depending on if you have an Android or an iPhone, and what particular version or model you have. Right under that, you have 3 options of format. Now, exiting out of the microphone options, at the bottom, we have a lot of setting options. Now, this is my email. Feel free to email me if you have any questions. What's interesting is this prioritization. Can I even say that? What this does is it goes hand in hand with, go back here at the top, your Digital Slate. If you have prioritization on, what happens is when you finish filming a video, you'll get that pop-up asking if you want to prioritize your video, whether you do, you don't, or you want to delete. Now, geotagging is interesting if you want and put in digital information to let you know where you were when you were filming or taking a photo. Now, volume shutter, if you want this, you have the option of taking a photo by using your volume buttons. What does come in handy is this gesture control. If you turn this on, with your gesture controls, you can control the exposure, the zoom, and the focus just by swiping your fingers on the screen itself. So what I'm doing now is I'm pinching my screen. I'm pinching outward to zoom in, and I'm pinching inward to zoom out. What you can also do is if I go up and down with my finger, that will change the focus. And if I go side to side on the screen, what that'll do is change the exposure. Now, as you already know, the circle on the left, this is going to be your exposure. If it's blue, the circle turns blue, it's been locked. If you click it, then it'll automatically adjust. The same for the square on the right. This is your focus. It's blue, so it's locked in. If I click on it, then it'll automatically focus to wherever you move that square. With save photos to camera roll, you can do that. I would want to do that, so I'm going to keep that on. Then we have load default preset on start. So you will have options to put in presets, which are nice. Smart HDR, this is when you're taking photos. The HDR will automatically adjust your exposure to different environments. This is something I don't keep on because I want more of a manual control, so I'm going to keep it off. Save Digital Slate state. That's more or less as far as your projects go. We might want to keep that on. Here next we have delete option pop-up after save or export. Once you save or export, you'll get an option. Do you want to delete that data from your phone? Now, the next one is what I was talking about earlier. If it's off, you don't have this option to adjust your exposure, your focus, and so on by sliding your fingers on the screen. If you do turn it off, you have that option, and you also have the option if you want to hide the exposure and focus points, and you can also hide the grid lines if you want. So if we take a look here at the bottom of the screen, we have our histogram plus another, let's say, 6 options. This particular histogram is a representation of the pixels exposed on your image, where the left side of the graph will represent the blacks or the shadows, and the right side will represent the highlights or the bright areas. Next, we have our white balance here, and you have several options. If you wanted to choose the ones at the top, we can choose from if you're filming in daylight, if it's cloudy outside, if you're in the shade. It gives you a tungsten feel, a fluorescent feel, and a gray card feel. Now, here at the bottom, a lot of people might want to auto white balance, which is just fine. Now, if you want a manual control, what you can do here is you have two options here. The one at the very bottom center, which is your manual overall, and the one at the bottom right, which gives you some tint. Now, if you want to adjust these, we have this scroll bar here on the right to where you can adjust the white balance. Next, we have focus. Now, you can adjust the focus here on the scroll bar as well. You can go up and down and it will go in and out of focus. Next, we have a zoom. If you want to zoom, which I would assume most people don't really use. You would use maybe your telephoto lens to do that instead. Next is ISO. You can adjust your ISO in a similar fashion. Next, we have our shutter speed. And our shutter speed, and then down here at the bottom right we have our exposure. You can do the same thing, go up and down, scroll up and down to change exposure. Now here at the very bottom we have a little white square. This is where you would see the most recent video or photo you've taken. Right above that though, you have an interesting function that FiLMiC Pro and Protake I don't believe have. You can switch to a camera mode, which is pretty interesting. The only thing that the other options that you get real quickly would be, of course, your different resolution, your megapixels, your different ratios, and what file format you would like to save it in, as well as a timer, whether it's off, 3 seconds, 10, 30 seconds, or some other type. Let's go back to video. Now, of course, the big red button is, as we all know, is our shutter button. Above that, we have our visual analytics. If we click on that, we have our regular three options. Focus peaking, and you can see that if you look at the camera here that it's outlined the camera in a little green tint, and that shows you what happens to be specifically in focus. Then we have, if you want to click out of that, we'll go to our zebra stripes. If you use that to get a better idea of what is underexposed and overexposed, and then we have our false color as well. And at the top here we have the option to zoom in and out quickly. Of course, here on the very right, we can see our audio levels, which gives you more information about your microphone, your audio format, and your sample rate. And here at the top right, which is pretty interesting, is your presets. Now you'll notice in the red, I have no internet connection because I am in airplane mode, so I'm not to be disturbed while I'm making this video. But what you can do here is once you've logged in, you can create different presets so that you have a default preset whenever you film. You don't need to readjust your settings when you're filming. So this can really come in handy. So have you been making a mental note on how Beastcam compares to FiLMiC Pro and Protake, or your favorite app? Maybe. And if you haven't for some reason heard of FiLMiC Pro or Protake, check out my other video comparing the two side by side. You can see it right here. All right, now here are a few comparisons to keep in mind. Price. Beastcam's price at the moment is definitely the winner when it comes in at $14.99. FiLMiC Pro does have the same price at $14.99, but careful, you would need to upgrade and pay an additional $13.99 to get manual control, which you're going to want. And Protake, one of my favorites, is subscription based. It's $19.99 and you need to renew once a year. Okay. Now, as far as the design goes with Beastcam, I would compare it somewhat to Protake. I really like Protake's design. Beastcam has a nice design. FiLMiC Pro, so-so. Also, Beastcam's ability to organize your videos by project and scene is pretty cool. And let's not forget, you have a camera option as well. However, Beastcam, you have no time-lapse option. Why not? Also, there's no log function or color profiles to choose from. Why not? Two additions you might consider changing. But after all is said and done, the best app is really what works best for you guys, the user. What do you guys think? What do you like most? What don't you like? Leave a comment below and let me know. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope this had some value for you. If so, I'd love a like. Sure would appreciate it. It helps the channel. Also, consider subscribing and check out some more of my videos right here. See you soon.